So to enter the calibration menu, we'd want to be able to exit out of the bump mode. We're going to board out of this and we're going to re-enter from a calibration. So I'm turning off this, we'll call it the bump test function, and I'm going to scroll back over to calibration. So I need to do a calibration. So I'm going to scroll back across to the option menus. These are things that we've gone through in previous discussions. I'm now at the point of setting the calibration. So I'm going to enter this function. The first step is to give it zero gas, and we show an empty tank. We scroll across for zero. It's looking for us to flow zero gas. If I'm flowing my zero gas and I'm reading a stable signal, what I'm going to do is give it a check mark. So it accepts the zero value and says that's what zero looks like. Next is going to be spanning. Do I want to span this instrument? So I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to start applying my span gas and enter that particular menu. It asks me what my range is, what my calibration gas range is. In this case, it's going to be 50% LEL of methane. If I have a different cylinder, I can make that number whatever it needs to be in order to correctly calibrate my output, carbon monoxide or whatever my gas value is. I'm going to enter that as my level, and then we're going to go through a process, and I'm going to watch the system as it gets to its value and looking for stable output. So it's going to reach a level, a threshold, and it will stabilize based on its existing calibration information. Once it gets to that stable level, and I'm comfortable that that's an acceptable value, I'm simply going to check mark again, enter that check mark, and that's going to then lock in, give me a pass or fail, but lock in the value and say this is the signal strength that's equivalent to 50% LEL. So as soon as I see stability and I have a stable output, you can see how it's kind of plateauing here on 50%. I feel like I've got a solid, reproducible signal. I simply check mark it, accept it. It lets me know that that's acceptable. It accepts that calibration, and then it goes into a purge. The idea of the purging cycle is that I'm in a maintenance mode, so I am inhibiting my signal going off to my control system. What it's doing is it wants us right now to get the gas off, and the idea is we're going to go back into active reading. It doesn't want the gas to be still there. So you'll see in a second that it's going to see the decreasing values, and once it is acceptable and it sees that you're in a purging mode, it'll actually go